And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gaming Landscape Podcast episode 9. And we are thrilled to have you all back again for this episode. We have a lot of things to talk about, especially for the MMORPG world, and I think you're gonna love it. As always, I have my co-host with me, Alumio.
Hello there. Glad to be here yet again, and let's see what we have scheduled for this episode.
Yeah, I have 4 topics in the shelf for us, and I know it's been a while since we talked last, but it's in the summer, it's in vacation. I had a break on a island I have probably talked about before, but now we're back here. So Lumio, are you ready for episode 9?
Yes, let's get into it.
Awesome. So for the first topic we're going to talk about is New World, the new MMORPG from Amazon Games. And the reason for why we're going to talk about this game is because tomorrow, on the 20th July, we are going to get the closed beta. And if you didn't know it, and you're listening right now thinking, how can I participate in the closed beta? Well, there is 2 ways. You can either go to the New World website and sign up for free, and you will maybe get in, or you can simply pre-order the game and you will 100% get in. And then of course you can say, is it worth to pre-order to try the paid beta? Well, that's up to you. I mean, you can go to Twitch, YouTube and see people play it tomorrow and judge for yourself. I will probably myself stream it and have some giveaway codes, but that's another talk. But before we go even more into this beta event happening tomorrow, Alumio, are you looking forward to this New World closed beta tomorrow, and are you going to play yourself?
I'm probably not going to play it on the closed beta because, well, work being usually going to start to pick up until like mid-August, and also in the process of moving houses by the end of the month. So I probably won't be touching it. But I'll definitely be watching it as much as I can.
Okay.
I think there's also an addition of the closed beta testing. Then correct me if I'm wrong, if you know about it, but I believe you can pre-order it on Steam, play as much as you want, and then if you don't like it, you can refund it, since it's still a pre-order without issues.
Well, I had the same ID, but that didn't work out for me. I pre-ordered the Sword of Legends Online and played the beta of it, like a different game, but it was the beta. I played that for like 7 hours, and then I tried to refund the original game, but it told me, no, you played the beta for 7 hours, so you cannot refund.
Well, then I'm stand corrected then.
Yeah, because, well, I for my defense for Sword of Legends Online, I'm just saying the reason for why I wanted to refund was because I got an even bigger version of the game with even more items in it for free by the developers because I'm a content creator. So I just wanted to refund my little Steam version for $20 over for a big box I got on the Gameforge launcher. So it's not because I'm not liking the game, just, before people think, oh my god, he refunded it. But
I believe you, Dvalin. Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, but that's why. But yeah, so yeah, I would not test it and see if it was the same. It will probably be happening the same as me, that even though you played the beta, you're not able to refund it. But for everyone listening, the closed beta will start tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. PT. Basically, if you're in Denmark, it's 6:30 where you're gonna eat dinner. If you're in the UK, it's 5:30, or as it says here, 9:30 a.m. PT, or 4:30 p.m. UTC. And the beta is lasting from July 20 till August 2, where the game is actually officially releasing on August 31. And tomorrow, me and my guild, which Alumia also is a part of, called Blue Bambies, we're going to play New World while we're waiting for example, Corepunk. And we are going to play on a server called Asgard. Because, why not? I love Vikings and Norse mythology, so of course we're going to play on Asgard. And we are going to play the faction called the Covenant. And before you're all thinking, okay, what is this faction thing? Let me just go through it. So, Alumio, I'm not sure, do you know about the factions, or is this also going to be a refresher for you, this?
I had an early knowledge of them, as in like what they used to be. Is basically just I think 3 factions, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know the lore of them. I never knew the lore of them,
Okay.
but I think they were just like like World of Warcraft. Like they all fight each other and such. But I don't know the current state of it or how it exactly works.
Mm.
So probably a refresher would be really very helpful.
Yeah, because well, you could say yeah, in World of Warcraft you have like the factions where basically they fight because they are different. But here they actually everyone who lives on this island, the humans are the same. They all coming from the broken sails, like they all coming to the Bermuda try what you call Bermuda try. What's it called in English?
Bermuda Triangle.
Triangle. Yeah, there you go. They all like coming with the ships and so on. So it's all people, but they are like all different people. And we have 3 factions that all these people have joined. And we have the Covenant, the Syndicate, and the Marauders. The Covenant, which I am going to join, and my guild. So everyone who's listening, feel free to join the server Asgard and play with the Covenant. The Covenant can be considered as a fanatical group that aims to purge heretics. The group's ultimate goal is to cleanse the world of wrongdoers according to their vision and make it fit to their holy standards. So basically, people who really like the Holy Spirit and really wants to judge people that do it wrong.
That sounds very aggressive.
It does. And when I saw that, I was like, yep, that's going to be me. We're going to do one big crusade and show the world how we do it.
Well, hopefully it goes well. I have a feeling you all might get stomped, but it will be fun to watch.
Yeah, we'll see. But okay, well, listen to the next one. The Syndicate. The Syndicates are on a missions on their own, aiming to unravel all the forbidden knowledge around the world to ultimately start a new age of enlightenment.
Very enlightening.
Yeah, like
that's sort of more of a spiritual type.
Yeah, the thing is on this island, the people are there's like all these different forces, the death force, the nature force, and all that. Basically, they want to like know everything about it, and then take the power and use it by themselves. So they don't care about holy stuff like the covenants or anything like that. They just want to be the best.
Okay, yeah, it's very. They all seem to be very what's the word? Extremist, like an extreme on something.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have the last one, the Marauders, which I think is maybe gonna be one of the most popular because what I'm going to tell now, the Marauders is essentially a military group that's looking to form a new free nation for the strong. So basically, they just like really old school. The strong survives, the weak dies.
Yet again, very aggressive. Another extreme.
Yeah, so 3 very extreme groups. So basically, none of them is really that good. Like all of them is like very bad. So we took the one who likes, you can say, holy religions and want to purge everyone else. So if you're gonna play New Worlds tomorrow, you feel free to join the server Asgard, play Covenant, and join our guild in the game. It's gonna probably be fun. But I will also be streaming it tomorrow. I will have some closed beta keys to give away if you want to have some, and it's gonna be fun. And if you're sitting and don't really know what New World is, basically it's an MMORPG with dungeons, PvP, open world. A lot of open world PvP. Like one of the main things in the game is like faction wars, where you have like zones where you can like capture zones, capture castles. It's like there's a lot of things you can do in this game, which has a lot of fun. And Illumia, now we are talking about this game because the next topic we're going to talk about, we're not going there yet, but the next topic we're going to talk about is the game called Crowfall, but we're not going there yet. Crowfall is a PvP game, which a lot of people think is a niche. And New World actually started as a PvP game where a lot of people also thought it was a niche game because the main focus in New World was doing PvP, was basically killing each other and getting full loot from each other. But they changed that, and all the hardcore PvP fans who likes all these niche games, they disappeared and hated the developers. But instead, they attracted all the other MMORPGs players, like probably like 80% of the world, like 80% of the MMORPG players who actually likes to do dungeons and raids and battlegrounds, like stuff like that. So basically they did a trade-off. They said goodbye to all the very hardcore PvP fans, which is a very small community, and then they said hello to the very, very big PvE community. How do you feel about doing this decision like in midways of a development?
I don't like the switcheroo of just as a business. I understand it. Like they wanted to have a wider reach to like make more money, and I'm not surprised that Amazon chose to do that. What I don't like as it's not really a moral point. Like, can't really put my finger on what word exactly to use for this. For the lack of a better one, I'm going to use moral point. That they show, and I don't know if it was just one alpha or two or whatever. They show a game to be this one thing, this one direction, and then suddenly they pull the rug under and basically just turn the game into something completely different. And that basically just means just kick the old player base away and try and get as much of these new people in as possible. Which, yeah, for the business decision, I understand. They want to make more money. They want to reach more people. For the lack of a better word, a moral point, I don't like that attitude because it's to me is not a good attitude to have as developers to showcase to your community. But hey, if it keeps getting better, there's some people that are still upset and are going to keep being upset with the direction of the game. But as long as the current audience that likes the game enjoys it and gets content out of it, lot of hours of fun out of it, then that's what matters in the end.
Yeah. And I mean, I follow you that they start with a big community of PvP players and they all are happy for this game, and suddenly they say, hey, we don't like you people, so we're gonna throw all of you out and get into PvE people. It's different, but as you say, I understand also they do it for the money because it is Amazon. They want to be successful. They want to compete with, I'm gonna say it, they want to compete with World of Warcraft. And if they want to do that, then they have to do a PvE game. They can't do a PvP game, or else it will never reach the heights of World of Warcraft. I mean, that's just how MMO works. It's PvE. It's all about PvE.
Yeah.
Okay, so for everyone else who's listening right now, just so you know, New World is a game without classes. So you don't pick a class in the game. You basically pick weapons. Weapons will then define who you are and what you do. It's like Albion Online, where you pick a sword and then you are a swordman, or you pick a bow and you're a bowman. So in this game, you can choose between sword and shield, which is one thing in together. You can choose like a weapon called hatchets. You can choose a weapon called rapiers, warhammer, great axe, spear, bow, musket, fire staff, life staff, ice gauntlet. Each of these weapons change your character totally, and you can wield two of them at the same time. So you can click on, for example, one of your buttons, key bindings, and it will change between the two weapons. Before you could actually have 3 weapons, but that looked ridiculous. I mean, you had so many items on your back, it looked like you were some kind of a traveler. Looked so bad. But now they changed it back to only 2 items, so like 2 weapons, and it looks pretty cool now. Just so everyone has an ID, big open world, choose your weapon, not your class, play the game, have fun. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. Tomorrow the closed beta will be there. Then for the next episode, me and Illumia is gonna talk about how we felt the closed beta went, how we felt. Like, I mean, I'm gonna play it, so I will tell about how I felt it was, and Lumia will tell about how he thought about watching it, and we're gonna give it like a little review, maybe even give it some stars. So I think we
can. They like back on the. And sorry for getting for cutting in. Like, back on the weapons, they did change like their combat quite a lot, like several times, didn't they?
A lot. Yeah. The combat used to be much more clunky, and it was also I think even they changed like how the combat worked in like totally. But the combat feels from the alpha I played, where there was no NDA, the combat actually felt very nice and very good. So I have big trust in it. Feels great on this close beta since it's like a half year since I played it now.
Yes, yeah, you know the opinion that even though you didn't get a chance to experience the early versions of the combat, that it's in a good place right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's hope that it actually holds true, and we'll see how it goes. And like actually, a bunch of people swarm into the game.
Yeah, I hope it close base is gonna go well for them. Even though a lot of people have hate against this game, and for some reason because it's Amazon, I'm not on that team. I'm more like I hope every MMO succeeds.
Exactly. Like there's no reason to want it to fail.
No, exactly. So for the rest of the details about New World, I think we can save that for next episode when we have tried it and watched it. So Illumi, do we have a like last word before about New World before we're gonna go to the next topic?
Not really. Yes, I think maybe just really looking forward to see how like a proper end game is gonna play out. Because I saw, I don't know, it was a dungeon or a raid. I think it was a dungeon, like the showcase that they did with one dungeon. And I think it was supposed to be like a tutorial-like dungeon, or like the first dungeon you see, you find or whatever. But the enemies were basically the same ones you find outside, just with more HP and such. And maybe one of them was like the big boss, so it had like a few more skills than the usual, but it was still a reskinned mob. So I do hope that they worked on that and they bring more like actual uniqueness to the dungeons than not just you find the same mobs here, just with different stats.
For sure. And I know it's the first expedition you're talking about right now, as they call them expeditions. But it's the first expedition which is a very tutorial-friendly one that takes you through. This is a door, this is an enemy, this is a boss. But I mean, when they first announced this game, it was not supposed to have dungeons. So that they have dungeons now is like a big step forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's run it up and go to the next topic. And here we are with second topic. So the second topic, as I kind of spoiled before, because I already told you what it's about, but second topic is Crowfall. And Crowfall is a new MMORPG which released on the 6th of July. And since that game has released, it's actually been my main game, funny enough. So, Illumio, are you much into Crowfall? Do you like know the basics of the game, or is it like a very new world for you?
I have a very basic understanding of it. I know that it's not. I know, like for a fact, that Crowfall isn't the type of game for me. Just to do what it's focused on, being a lot of open world PvP. It has some PvE, of course, but the central point being open world PvP and interactions of players around that. But yeah, I have a very like brief overview knowledge of it, not anything too deep.
Okay, cool. Okay, let me paint it up for everyone who's listening to like understanding what the game is totally about. So first of all, when you go into Crowfall, it's about creating your character. You have to create a very, very unique race. They have like humans, half elves, high elves, wood elves. They have like they have even centaurs, like, half human, half horse. They have minotaurs. They have so many unique races in that game, and the classes also are very cool too. So just saying that this game on early is quite cool because you have a lot of races and classes to play from. But then you very fast, in a couple of hours, already get to the end game, where in other MMOs you would have to play a lot of hours to actually like get to end game. But in Crowfall you get to end game very fast. And again, this game has just been released, and I'm playing it right now. I'm having what is called a VIP subscription, so I can basically create a new character, go to an NPC, and tell him that I want to skip to max level. Well, not max level. Skip to level 25, which max level is 35, and then you can already go ahead and play end game. And basically, the end game of Crowfall is PvP. You play around in these big open campaigns, worlds, where you play different campaigns. There's either faction versus faction, where you have 3 factions fighting over forts, continents, all that. It's all about owning as many capture points as possible, so the team gets more points every hour. Or you can play guild versus guild, where you basically have also these big lands, and you play guild versus guild, and then you have like 100 different teams fighting over each other. Where factions, it's three teams. So basically, if you're looking into an MMORPG where it's all about, like, if you watch the Lord of the Rings movie and you really like just the fighting scenes, and you said, I want an MMO where it's only just like the fighting scenes with a lot of players fighting over castles, then it's a game for you. But if you also like doing dungeons, raids, PvE stuff, then it's not a game for you. It's all about PvP. And yes, they have a little PvE, but that's only camps around where you can go kill some monsters, get some gold, and that's everything. But Illumio, this game released recently. It's been my main game since. Tomorrow, as we talked before, New World is releasing. So, of course, New World is now going to be my main game. As you can probably hear me, I'm a guy who changes main game a lot. But I have to admit that I had fun in Crowfall. It's a fun game if you play with people. When you play it alone, it's a bit tough because you have to craft a lot of stuff. You have to get a lot of gold. It's I would actually say, as much as it's not really a game that allows you to be alone. You cannot play this game solo. You need a guild, you need a group. It's very group guild orientated game, and as a solo player, it's kind of hard. I actually would say it's non-existent if you're a solo player. And Illumio, how do you feel about an MMORPG where it's actually not allowed to be solo?
No, it's perfectly fine with it. Like I said, it's the aim of it. It's a niche aim. Like it is a niche. It's not popular, like the popular or one of the top popular styles. Just the fact that it's purely focused on the PvP interactions. And that's about it. And like you said, like when you were mentioning earlier, the progression, you get to end game really quickly because the focus of the game is the end game, and the player interaction is what makes the game survive, is what makes the game, well, be a game. And I think it's perfectly fine. There is definitely an audience for it. Now, if that audience is going to make the game last long enough, that's a different question. And also partially because like it didn't have the greatest of PR and all that, and it's just there were issues in the past with it. I think we've talked about it previously in other episodes.
Yeah, they had some issues.
And that already takes some of that niche crowd, already takes part of that crowd and makes them leave because they don't want to deal with this. They had their first impressions. They don't want to give the game a second chance. I do think the game can still survive, can be its own little success. Nothing too crazy, but it can get enough, like generate enough income to survive for at least a few years. I could see that. Because, well, like I also see it on, I've seen it on Reddit and such. When it came out, it had a big wave of hate, and that was expected. Then for some reason, like there was like another wave of support for it, like of, oh, Crowfall is actually not that bad. I actually gave it like a second chance, and it's not that bad. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna grow much more than what it has. It didn't launch with the big player base, but I think the player base that was there with the launch is probably gonna stick with it for as long as they can. And like I said earlier, I think they're gonna have their own little success and keep the game going for a bit, for however long that bit is.
Yeah, and that is the thing with PvP games, like we talked about with New World, that people left it because they didn't want it to be a PvP game. And Albion Online has also always been a niche game where they maybe had like 5 to 20,000 players actively online. And we're seeing the same numbers right now for Crowfall. They have about there's some API websites that can take numbers out from it. I actually have like a link just here, and the APA website right now, if it's actually true, it says, for example, right now in the game right now we have. Oh wait, they actually blocked it. Okay, interesting. But it used to say that 4,000 players used to play the game currently, and that is 4,000 players right now. That's not how many people have played it today, because 4,000 players playing it right now is actually quite a lot. When you think about, there's always someone logging off, someone logging in, someone logging off. It's I don't know, 4,000 players playing right now could maybe easily translate into, I don't know, maybe 100,000 players on today. So the game is well healthy, but it's down on the healthy level where it's a niche game, because you can also see on Twitch it has 1 to 2,000 viewers on Twitch.
Yeah.
And that's also flagging it. It's not a popular game, it's a niche game.
Yeah, basically, instead of releasing to the typical thing that you'd see of explosive launch and then going down into like the proper player base that it will end up having, it basically released to the amount of player base, the size of player base that it was going to end up at, potentially.
And that's the fun thing, because it actually released to like a very, 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 very little player base, and then it just like got a little bit bigger, because Summit 1G, which is an okay big Twitch streamer, he streams it a couple of times, and some other big streamers played it, so of course they are promoting it and get some sales and so on. And of course then I played a lot on my YouTube, and people would also play then and stuff like that. So, but I think you're true that I don't think the game is gonna grow big, but it's gonna have its solid fan base who's gonna stick with the game for a very long time.
Yeah, and I think that the setup that they have on the game sort of is good for that, because I believe it's like sort of like seasons or conquest or whatever
Yeah,
it's called,
campaigns.
and campaigns, and they are not super long. So
No.
there's like a frequent reset of campaigns that just dictates like, okay, now we're gonna try doing this a different way, etc. So there's going to be a reset, a frequent reset enough. Like, I'm tumbling on my words. I'm tripping on my words. There's going to be frequent resets that are going to be frequent enough to not have a stagnant game, which is really even more now than ever is really important to keep the game afloat, because they are already at the point where they have their current player base, like their level. They can't really go under from this, because if they start going under, then basically game's dead. So yeah, I think the frequency of resets on the campaigns is going to keep the game fresh for the people that like the game, and hopefully alive and kicking for however many years it has.
Yeah, I mean, I just see Albion Online used to be a very poor game, like not much to do, just more like open world PvP and stuff like that. But after now, like after, I don't know what year it released, but after, I think it just had 4 years birthday or something like that. Like I think I think they're celebrating an event right now with 4 years. But the game is so different today. Like it has so much PvE content, which makes the game much more fun for the average MMO player, and that's also why they have like 300,000 people playing it now daily. I kind of hope to see the same for Crowfall, that they will keep from now, because the game needs a lot of work still, in a good way. And I hope the game will still develop, upgrade, get better, so that the game just keeps getting interesting updates, which maybe one day will make you interested in the game, if you know what I mean. Like the game has to keep going on, get better all the time, and just, evolve.
Yeah. Personally, I'm not having high expectations in the sense of the game evolving enough to bring me into it. Just because, like I said earlier, the core idea of the game is a very focused PvP aim that is there's too much focus and emphasis on open world PvP for me to be something that I would play. And even if it evolved, I doubt it would evolve to the side, sort of like away from this aim, because they would just hit the player base that they have in a bad way, if they go away from what they have currently. I don't think they could afford to do that. So what they would be evolving on, what they would be upgrading, would be more things onto their current vision of the game, basically. And
well, there is a lot of things that they do right now, which is super cool, but it needs live quality changes, like the party interface, the friend list, the guild, all those small things which are like a major things in games needs a lot of. You can really feel on some of the interface stuff it like it's very beta-ish. So they really need to get the fundamental of the game up and running before they think new ideas. Okay, but in all, as you still heard what I just said, is that the game for me is still like been my main game for a very long time now, like since they released the 6th to July. Now I'm saying goodbye to it. Now I'm, basically saying thanks for having fun weeks with me, but now New World is the next game I'm gonna play, and after New World it's gonna be Core Punk. So it's always interesting interesting year to be an MMO fan. So I don't have any more comments to Crowfall. It was a fun game. I will definitely give it a high score if I had to rate it as it is right now, as for me as a player. But Illumi, do you have a last word about Crowfall, or else we're gonna go with the next topic?
No, I think that's pretty clear on it. I think we can move on past it.
Awesome. Topic number 3 is about Sword of Legends Online, which is a new Chinese themed or Korea themed MMORPG. And it released last week, I think it was, or now actually last week again. And I played it on the launch day, and it's a MMO. Me and Alumi have talked about this game 100 times. You probably already have heard everything about this game, and you all know that I play the game. Alumi don't like it. Alumi, you will get to comment on why just in 2 seconds. But the game released, and it's a new MMORPG. It has dungeons, classes, only humans at the moment, and it's a very theme park MMO with mounts, transmog, dungeons, raids. But the thing is that this game is like, a lot of people dislike the game because it's very Korea-ish, Chinese-ish themed. So you're not going to be some kind of a big warrior with plate armor on. Like you're not gonna look like someone from Dark Souls. You're more gonna look like someone running around in a robe or dress, fighting with a big spear or sword. Like, you know what I mean? You have seen all those fighting movies, all those kung fu movies.
Yep.
Exactly. It's you're gonna look like those kung fu masters, but you're never gonna look like someone from Lord of the Rings with a big plate armor. And that's one of the things that will make a lot of MMO players run away, because they don't want to look like some kind of kung fu master. They want to look like, I don't know, Frodo from Lord of the Rings. That was a bad example, but Gimli or Legolas or Aragorn, something like that. But instead you can look like Shifu from Kung Fu Panda. And I don't think everyone is agreeing to that. But still, the game is fine. The game is fun. I'm enjoying it. I haven't really had the time to play it because I've been playing Crowfall, but it's just to give my opinion about it. But the game is out. People are having fun with it. I see it's actually quite big. A lot of people have been playing it, so it looks like they're doing good. But Illumio, have you noticed anything about the game since it released recently?
Not really, not too much. All I've noticed about was there was like that influx of people of, oh, solo is really cool, blah 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 on Reddit. That's normal to happen when something is about to come out. After it came out, it physically just fell off, and I don't think he has a good population. I don't think he has like that big of it. Then I don't think it's going to increase just because wuxia, I think that's what it's called. I don't know how to say it. Wuxia theme, the Chinese theme is simply not popular in the West, and I know like this is like the main thing that I complain about for this game. But it matters for a lot of people because not only is it the theme, is it the whole aesthetics of the game and how your character looks is around this. And this is simply just not popular on the West.
No.
Yeah, it just isn't. That's a fact. And it's just going to be like one of those like side MMOs that it has its population. It's okay, but you know what I mean? It's one's on the side. It's not a top one. It's never going to be a top one. It's going to be one of those that lives fine on the sidelines. You hear about it every now and then, but nothing amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, in the start, I actually enjoyed it, like running around with a rope and big sword, and I kind of felt like it was cool. But then I was like craving big shoulder pads for my warrior or berserker, and I found out, yeah, you can't really get that, and then I was like, and yeah, and
it's just not popular.
No, I'm also more into standardish games, not even Final Fantasy. That game has also a little bit things from it. Like I would even go back to say World of Warcraft or even New World, which is coming out. New World has some really cool armor, which is the traditionally fantasy armor, and I'm way more into that. But I know people who are really happy for Sword of Legends. They have right now 1,300 viewers on Twitch, which is which could be categorized as a niche game, but I'm sure they're doing good and they're earning the money they need. But it seems like it's not gonna be the big next MMO in Western.
That's for sure. Like it's not going to be, it's not going to grow more than it already is currently.
No.
Um,
Now that was the highest point he probably had. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I'm not done with it. I'm gonna play it more when I get time. There's like so many things going on right now with MMOs like Crowfall, Sort of Legends Online. Now we're getting New World, Core Punk just around the corner. There's so many games we have to like play. So Sort of Legends have to wait a bit for my case. But any last word, Alumio, before we're gonna go for the last topic?
Not really. I think we've talked a lot of Swords of Legends across all these episodes.
Yeah, I think it's time to let it go, and maybe we can talk about it again in a year, where we can say if it's still out there or not. Probably, but yeah, it was just now we've talked so much about it, so now I just had to say that it's out now. Buy it, play it, do whatever you want. We're not gonna talk about it anymore. It's out. Goodbye. Okay, next topic. So for the last topic, we're going to talk about something different. A game we haven't talked about before. And recently, like a couple of days ago, there was a big event called TennoCon. And Illumio, do you know what TennoCon is?
It's the big convention for Warframe, I think, right?
It is. It is. And every year, like BlizzCon, where BlizzCon is showing, the next World of Warcraft, Diablo, stuff like that. This case, TennoCon is the next big show that shows what is going on for Warframe. And they had the big, TennoCon on Twitch. It had, I don't know, but when I checked it, it was before they showed all the funny stuff. It had, I think, 400,000 people watching, and that was before all the funny things would happen. So I would probably guess it had more than 1 million viewers on Twitch watching it. So it's a big thing. And the funny thing is, Warframe is like, normally it's a niche game on Twitch, like it's very low down. But whenever this event comes, it gets so many people. So the community behind Warframe is like huge, like super big. But they're not really watching Twitch. They just all play the game. It's a fun community. They don't like to watch people play it on Twitch. They more like they all play it, so they don't have time to watch it on Twitch.
I'm not even sure if the game is fun to watch, in all honesty.
Probably not, because it's a game where everything is very fast. Like everything.
It's like it's too fast.
Yeah, you're just jumping around, and yeah, I mean the game right now has 8.9k viewers, but again, there's just been TennoCon, so a lot of people is hyped about the game, so that's probably why it has a lot of viewers. But I think you're totally on spot. It's not a fun game to watch because it's just so boom boom bam bam boom boom run stuff like that. But we are here to talk about what happened on TennoCon, because you probably don't know that, Alumia, do you?
Nope, it's not something I can say that I follow.
Okay, well, I have like it's like one of my secrets. I'm a big Warframe fan, but I don't really talk about it because there was one reason for why I didn't like the game, and they actually gonna fix that now, so I'm gonna come back to that. But let's go through it. So Warframe's new big expansion, next expansion, big update is called New War. Basically, in this Warframe universe, there's like the Tennos, which is the heroes you play. Then there's the other factions, like the other ones you fight, and all of them is like based on humans. Like they are all coming from this human world. They all have in their DNA some kind of human thing in them. Even the monsters, they are, like you can say, abomination from humans. But in this new update called New War, it's about a new enemy called the Sentients. And we have seen the Sentients before in the game, but that was more like a poke. They just came in some maps and poked to us, like saying, haha, we're here, we're your enemy. And you kill them and you're like, okay, was that it? But now they're coming and saying like, okay, we just poked to you guys, but now we're gonna take over the world. And suddenly all the people who used to fight in the Warframe world, they are now fighting the same enemy. Like imagine like the real world, you have all the different countries fighting each other, and suddenly there comes an alien from outer space and say, we are now your shared enemy. You get where I'm going?
Yeah, I think so.
So the sentience has nothing to do with human DNA. They're more like an alien, a very like like a technical, what you can say, enemy. They're like floating robots attacking, looking pretty godlike. And so basically, the new expansion is about them coming, attacking, and we have to defend the world. And for the first time, you get to play in the campaign a non-Tenno, which is like the heroes you play. You get to actually play one of the characters, some of the characters from the other factions, like the other factions you normally kill. But it's more like a story campaign. It's more like you play it in a story with some voiceovers and stuff like that. And then after the story, you get back to your normal Tenno. But that's more for everyone who's listening. Like, oh, I used to play Warframe. Where are we going now? Well, now you're going to face this new enemy. But that's not really what made me say, wow. That's more like, that's just a standard update for a game, like new enemy, woohoo, whatever. But Illumia, the big thing here, where I was like, holy, this is big. And one of the things that have been removing me from playing the game is the biggest thing is that on PC, PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, when you play this game, they don't get updates on the same times. For example, the Nintendo Switch version is running a much older version, like not much older, but they're running older versions. I remember when it released in the Nintendo Switch, it was like actually like a lot of updates behind. And PC is always getting the updates before the consoles, and I hate stuff like that. Like either you do it simultaneously, like synchron, or else you don't do it. And if I played on my Nintendo Switch, I couldn't use the same character on my PC. And if I played on my PlayStation, it was a third character. It's like, what the hell is this? It's supposed to be like an MMO-ish world. Yeah.
There's that. Yeah, they provide the game in all these different platforms, but they basically don't want to do the extra legwork to make it cross-platform.
Exactly.
So end up being just, oh, we'll throw it in here and let's see what new people we get, and not really anything to help support the current players that they have.
Exactly. And then on TennoCon, they announced finally with a little fun trailer, because they showed 4 Tennos, one in a red suit, one in a blue suit, one in a green suit, and then the normal Tenno, which all symbolize, the green for the Xbox, the red for the Nintendo, and the blue one for the PlayStation, and then the standard Tenno. And they announced that they are finally finishing the last touches on cross-play and cross-save.
That's quite good.
Yeah, I believe this is the first step for them to becoming big. I mean, this now makes the game able to play it on any platforms, anywhere, whatever you want to do, and you can always play together with everyone.
Yeah, I think it's a very good step in the right direction. It might not mean that they get a bunch of people, like maybe, but it's a very big quality of life and like appeal to the population that they have right now, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely something they need to have before like breaking out, becoming even bigger. It's it's like it's the bread under the butter. It's
exactly.
It just has to be there. And even with this announcement here, they even announced that this game is also going to mobile. So basically, you can play this game on your Android or iPhone, on your mobile, basically, and having fun on the go in a bus with your mobile, and then going back on your PlayStation, then going back to your PC and play with the same character.
Yeah, that's like, again, it's very good. It's a very good thing. There's not much to say about it. It's just extremely good, and I don't think there's like any downside to it.
No, I actually think you can play it on mobile already now, but that's because you can play through. I think the game is on the NVIDIA NVIDIA Go app. The NVIDIA has an app like Stadia and like Xbox Cloud. I think it has it on it. So if you have a controller on your mobile, I think you can play the game through that. But it's a bit, you have to like go. You need internet. You need service. You need the app and all that. But of course, they're just getting their own app like Fortnite has and like other games has. But I think it's big that Warframe is now going with this way with a big new expansion, new big enemy, which can really get a lot of new people in because it's a new big world starting from scratch. Cross-play, cross-save, mobile. I believe this is the first step for Warframe going into a new era for them.
Yeah, they have this down. I think they can start working more better on proper appealing things for new players, and even maybe you can get some cross platform promotional stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, actually, and for that, I don't have much more to say about Warframe. It's more like I just think it's these changes are so big that when they release this new expansion and crossplay and cross save and all that, I'm gonna re-download the game. They have already convinced me to re-download it, play it, try it out, but I'm not gonna do it now. I'm not gonna play. I'm the type of person who waits for the update and then play the update.
Yeah, sounds like a very good plan.
Yeah, I mean, and let's see. They have promised it's gonna happen in 2021, but but first of all, let's see what's happening when it releases. Because if they release it, let's say November, and on the same day we're getting Core Punk, then I mean, for sure, you and me, we're gonna ditch Core Punk and play Warframe. No, that's not gonna happen. We're gonna play Core Punk.
Extremely unlikely, yes.
Yeah, but if the new update happened like 1 week before Core Punk, we didn't know what to do the week before, then sure, I could download it and try it out. But it all depends on what's happening, because this year it's so packed with content. There's so many games this year.
Yeah, it's like just look at it and there's stuff coming out left and right.
Yeah,
it's really packed on the like live service / MMO games like area.
For sure. Okay, I mean, we'll see. We'll have it back on the podcast when we get closer to know when it is. No, we're not gonna talk about when it is, but we're gonna talk when it's happening and how it feels, because I'm gonna try it out. Okay. So that was the 4 topics we had for today. I mean, sorry, Lumi, do you have more to say about Warframe, or can we pack it?
Not really. I think we can pack it. I can say that today's topics, aside from a bit of New World and such, nothing too exciting from my end. It was pretty good in packing it in.
Yeah, it's just getting into things before next week where everything goes crazy with New World and stuff like that. Because for the next episode, we're gonna have like a lot of things to talk about. We're gonna have the review of the New World closed beta. Next week we are getting the very big Guild Wars 2 live stream with showing all the new content, which is going to be crazy. We're going to use half of the episode probably to talk about that, because it's going to be crazy. So we have to cover stuff like that. So for the next episode, we're going to have plenty of things to talk about. But this episode, it was also a very long time we did the episode. So today we just took what we could find. But still, it's
for
gaming.
Sure. Yeah. Still news, still new stuff to discuss. Not very exciting, but well, not much we can do about that. I'm sure like eventually we'll get better, more interesting things to discuss.
Yeah. So, well, as always, Alumio, thanks for being on the show with me today.
Well, thank you for having me here.
And well, it was a pleasure. And for everyone who's listening, thanks you for listening and watching us on YouTube. You can find us on basically any podcast platform: Spotify, iTunes, Google, wherever you want, even on YouTube. We even have a dedicated channel for this on YouTube called Gaming Landscape Podcast. And as always, thanks for watching. If you want to see more content from me, Dvalin, you can find me on youtube.com/DvalinDK. And if you want to have a chat or a virtual beer with Illumio, you can find him on the Core Punk Discord. And don't worry, you'll know where he is in the chats for sure.
Yeah, I'll be there.
The Mr. Bot over there. But yeah, so thanks everyone for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.